Speaking of champions, unfortunately, the NWA Women's Championship has been vacated. So at the Crockett Cup tonight, Medusa will be presenting the champion that will be crowned with the title belt as well. So here you have it, representation of the current champions for the National Wrestling Alliance. We're going to do the same thing we did before. We might as well do Q&A. I think that was a little bit easier. Does anybody have any questions for anybody? I'll pretty much answer that. Any takers? Ah, we got a man right here. Yes, sir.
This is for Medusa. You said you had a story about Wrestle War 92?
Wrestle War 92?
I have a lot of stories. Let's see if I can remember any. So, on that one. It was a historical evening, and it was a caged event, and Paul Dangerously was there. He was always the culprit of everything behind me. He was the voice of not reasoning. So I was in this blue, wonderful, sparkly dress, and at just this moment, I had this epiphany thinking, what can I do that I can stick out, because women need to get noticed more? So I thought, I will climb to the top of the cage, not thinking, because I kicked off my shoes and I was barefoot, and those cages back then were very rough, and they had a lot of steel things poking out everywhere. So I had to eat crow, and I had to suck it up, and I climbed up that cage, hiked up my dress, forgetting what I had underneath, who knows. Back then, I don't think we wore panties, I don't know, but, you know, Hellfire, you guys could probably Google it, look on there, you guys all be going like this now. Let me know what I was wearing. So, no kidding, just, hey, the old road stories. So, I hiked up that baby, I started climbing, and I'm like, oh, hell no. Oh, this hurts my feet. I can't really show that this hurts. So I just put on my angry face, I started climbing, and I got back down, and I'm looking for duct tape. I want to duct tape my feet so I can climb up this cage, was I thinking. So I think I found something, it didn't work, so I said I better get my ass up there, and I climbed up that cage. No one told me that the top cage wasn't really linked in hard or whatever they were going to do. So there I was. I climbed on top of that cage, and my dumb ass is walking up on this thing, and it starts sagging. And all of a sudden I'm looking, and the guys are going, dude, get down, you're going to fall through. I got this. I'm going to do something. And then I think it was Sting. Was he the one that came up in the other? So he was trying to talk to me, be really nice. I mean, Sting was looking out for me. He came up there and did his thing. He goes, get the fuck down. Okay. And then that was my story on that one.
I like that you made Willie Mack blush during that too. Great Captain America. I'm sorry, Captain America. I almost said my wrong comic book stuff there. Does anybody have any questions for Willie right now?
They don't like him.
Man,
They don't like him.
You're such a likable guy too.
They quiet.
Mack and Aldis, you have a question? Medusa's going to help with the questions on this one.
Okay.
So, I'm not shy, nor do I have lack of words ever. But I got a great story about Willie. I just met him. He's a great guy. Don't let it fool you. It's sports entertainment. So, we're driving over here. We had this little taxi thing together. He rode up in the front. He didn't talk at all. I'm thinking, what is this, old school, new school? Don't talk to the old broad in the back, or what the hell? But he was nice. He came up and he gave me the old worker shake hug. Hey, how's it going? I'm like, hey, hi. Medusa, nice to meet you. Great to see you. Da, 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 da. Of course, we're kind of met. So we're riding in the car, and he's fiddling on his phone, doing his thing. And I had this idea about a t-shirt. And Willie came up with my next t-shirt idea. He's got a great mind, great minds work away. And what was it? See, he can't even remember. What about the dirt?
Oh, it's all about the dirt.
It's all about the dirt. So that's my great story about Willie so far. Oh, questions! You gotta have questions.
No questions.
Otherwise, I'm going to go with my own questions. I don't know if it's going to fit the situation very well. Yes, sir.
Is there any plans to defend these championships, maybe in a steel cage match?
I mean, I think anything could happen, but do you gentlemen have any want or need for this? Is there like a dream that you had? If you had one match that you could defend the championships in, what would that be?
So many matches I can think of right now. Actually, I like to go old school and do a dog collar match.
If you had to defend the NWA World Heavyweight Champion in one situation, what would it be?
Well, I was always a big fan of 2 out of 3 falls, and so that's how how Cody and I decided that in Nashville it ended up being 70, which was it's a whole different way to sort of wrestle a match, and it's you can take people on a whole different ride, and you do 2 out of 3 falls. I think cage matches are I've been in a few, and they're okay. I think I would like to do war games. Obviously, that wouldn't be a title match, but I would like to be in a war games. But as far as world's title matches, I'd like to see if I could go an hour. I'd like to do an Iron Man match.
Iron Man match sounds like a good idea. And, I mean, there's a possibility. Medusa, you're with us today. There is going to be a newly crowned women's champion tonight. Is there a possibility that you, in the future, think that you might be thinking about putting a little bit of gold around the waist?
One more match.
Well, I'm going to answer the first one. I was thinking I would really like to see women wrestle more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. In fact, I'd like to see 2 women go an hour Broadway. And it would really help us and the women connect with their skills, to learn more, to understand psychology programs, and have a good fight. That's what I would like. I would like to see another Broadway. I did one in Japan with the Japanese girl, Asuka, and it was one of the most memorable matches. We don't hear about it, we don't see it or talk about it. I tried tweeting it, and people just like, I'm like, okay, check that shit out. Yeah, very few women do our Broadways. Back in the day, there was a lot of our matches. Wait a minute. So you want some gold around my waist? No.
Everybody got here early, they commuted, it's been a long day already, so they're just saving their energy for the show. Now, Emil, I know that you train constantly and are definitely someone as an insurance policy that can not only serve that part, but probably do your own. Have you thought about perhaps maybe making a trek into going for some gold? I tried. Couldn't work. Does anybody have any questions right now? Oh, they're pointing this dude in the back over here. You got an Express shirt on, Midnight Express. There's going to be a panel with them later on today, so this is good foreshadowing. Thank you for that.
Got a question for the champ, Nick Aldis. Nick, do you have any plans on defending the championship in Japan more often?
That's actually a really good question. The Crockett Cup today is a combination of both the National Wrestling Alliance, Ring of Honor, CMLL, and New Japan. The possibility is there.
Short answer is yes. I mean, I don't have any plans per se because it's up to me. It's matchmakers and the NWA and whichever Japanese office we work with. But it's definitely something that's on my radar. After this weekend, I head to Las Vegas. Presenting Dory Funk with the Luthez Award at the Cauliflower Alley. And I know that there's going to be some representatives from All Japan and stuff there, so that's a possibility. And, to me, it's a real World Championship. I've already defended it on 4 different continents, since I've had it. And to go to places like China, it's great to be the first, but at the same time, there are certain places that are the vestiges of this business, and Japan is one of them. So, for me to be the real world champion at some point, yeah, I've got to go defend it in Japan, absolutely.
And I know you're talking about where you could bring the championship, but I mean, you still have to get past the villain mark scroll first. So this conversation could be taking place and be a complete viewpoint. We never know. I think that's why you're all here.
He gets it. He knows what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
He's confident.
I like your confidence. I wish I could learn that from him. Does anybody else have a question right now? Yes, sir.
Hey, Nick, you're always the best dressed guy in the room. And I know that you see that with guys like Luthez and Nick Bockwinkel, those kind of guys. Is this to pay homage to those guys? Is there anybody specific you're modeling yourself after when you think about that?
It's a good question. I mean, you are usually the best dressed person anywhere I see you.
To me, it's the whole package. Everything is about prestige. And if you're a professional, you're a quality professional, and you take pride in what you do, you need to present yourself in that way. I understand that not everybody needs to have a custom-made three-piece suit. You know, that's not what I'm saying. Not everybody has to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Not everybody has to fit a certain mold. Business thrives on variety. But to me, yes, Nick Bockwinkel, like you mentioned, Harley Race, Ric Flair, obviously the most synonymous when it comes to being well-dressed. I always saw those guys that went, those are champions, you know, and there's something about you walk into a room, it doesn't matter where you are and whether anyone knows you or not. If you walk in a custom-made suit, people immediately show you a little more deference and a little more respect. And if my responsibility and my role is to bring more prestige and respect to the NWA and to the business, then it's a pretty easy thing to do. You know, it doesn't take a whole lot, it's just a bit of effort. And that's the way I look at it. And it's like, it's become something that's kind of synonymous with me now, which is cool, but to me, I look at it as just my basic responsibility as well as champion.
Fantastic. When I look at you, I never think I'm going to be able to get a three-piece suit and pull that off and everything, and I think that's great that you represent the championship. But Willie, you're also a champion, and let me tell you, I think we can really more likely look at you as a representation of what the average person could actually attain. And I think that's fantastic. Nick, no offense.
No, absolutely, you're right.
But, Willie, you're your own person, and I respect that. Next question. All right, we got two. Let's go for front row real quick.
For the champions, both of your challengers are well known. You know both of them very well for a long time. What's their biggest weakness?
Biggest weakness.
Obviously, there's a size difference. You know, you can be as popular as you want. You can sell as many T-shirts as you want. You can be as skilled as you want. Size matters in this business, especially when the World's Championship's on the line. He knows that he's got to try to take me into the deep water. I know that, he knows that. But he's got to get past the first 10, 15 minutes to get there. And I don't think he can.
Well, Coach's biggest weakness, I'm not too sure of it, but every time I see him, he's not really serious. Like, he's a fun dude, and I'm a fun dude, but when it comes to getting down to business, I ain't never really seen him do that. So, I'm the champion, we friends and all, but when it comes to me defending this in all 50 states, he's in my way, and I'm gonna have to go through him like a truck. And I feel bad for him, but it's like, this is the business we live in. It's like, move on to the next dude, or you don't take the title and be taking the opportunities that others did, you know what I mean? So when we get in that ring, friendship aside, I gotta do what I gotta do to keep my legacy going. He already got a name for himself all over the world. I've been doing this going on 13 years now. People barely give a little buzz in the ear about Willie Mack and want to keep that thing going, and it ain't gonna stop now.
All right, we got a couple more questions. I'm going to go to the back, and then we'll bounce back and around. How's that? I saw hands raised over here.
All the questions.
You got one? You did it yet? Let's give him a shot.
Just wondering, I could be wrong on my history, but I think Nick Aldis is the first British NWA champion. How did it feel for you to be the first British NWA champion?
And I'm sure that you would, for a fact, know if that is accurate or not, too.
Yes, I would know if that's accurate, and it is not. There has actually been a British world champion. His name was Gary Steele. He won it in 2000, I believe. There was an NWA affiliate in the UK called NWA Hammerlock. It was actually where Zack Sabre Jr. got his start. So, and Doug Williams was involved with that. So there was, there was some good history with that promotion. And yeah, Gary Steele actually had it. He was kind of a weird anomaly because he did that and then he kind of disappeared. Like no one really knows what happened to him. And so it's not a particularly well-known, moment in the history of the NWA Championship. But yeah, it was him. But it's always good to me. I'm a patriot. I've lived in the United States for 10 years, but I'm still a patriot. I still love my country. So anytime I've been able to break any glass ceilings for British pro wrestlers, and I've been able to sort of carry the load for the Brits, and I think it's pretty safe to say I made my debut on TV 10 years ago, and I played a meaningful part, I think, in opening the door for a lot more Brits, because now it's considered almost like the fourth major sort of international territory, whereas back in the day it was always kind of Mexico, the US, and Japan, and I feel like now the UK is the fourth in that list, and there's a group of us from our generation who didn't accept those limitations, and a lot of Brits kind of had this idea that, oh, we'll never go to America, we just have to sort of plod away on our own scene here and make a bit of money. And then our generation came along and went, I don't think so. And obviously there were big guys before, like Dynamite, Davey Boy, and Regal, and and Dave Taylor, Fit Finley, even further back than that, Billy Robinson. But there was always kind of a token British guy. It was always, they were there to fulfill a certain role and be a technical wrestler, and that was pretty much it. It was the middle of the card, and there was no sort of upward mobility, right? And then we came along and said, no, why can't we can be all the same things that American wrestlers are, and we can still put our own flavor on it. And that's the first person to actually recognize that in me was Dory Funk. Like, Dory took me to one side early on in my TNA career and said, I like the way that you're blending the British and American styles. Like, you're going to go, you're going to have a good career with that. So I'm proud of that.
All right, I think we've got time for about one more question. You had your hand raised before, sir. The floor is yours.
This one's for Nick. Throughout your career, who do you feel you have the best chemistry with, or is there one in particular match that sticks out in your mind?
Anything coming to mind right off the bat?
Honestly, I'd be remiss if I didn't say Cody. I think that he and our paths met at the perfect time. We had instant chemistry with each other because we were peaking at the right time together, and we both came with a lot of baggage, but it created a rich tapestry for us to build on for our, in our careers. Like we'd had, monikers of success in other places, and now we're sort of blazing our own trails, and then those paths kind of intersected with each other, and All In happened, and we just had that magic right away. So that's obviously what I think of. I think because we mirror each other, but in a way that works really well. Sometimes you can have two guys who are very similar, and the match is so-so because it's like, well, what's the story here? And sometimes you have that rivalry where it just fits, and that's how I felt about Cody and I. But aside from him, I always had great chemistry with Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. I would probably put Joe up there because Joe and I had such great chemistry as a team, and then as opponents, and it's just because he's just so good, it's just and I get the way he wrestles, and it's just that, when you have that with someone, it's like, I've never gone into the ring with Joe with any other idea that, except this is going to be good, like we're going to get the job done.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Medusa, Camille, Willie Mack, and Willie Aldis.